Hi guys, what is going on? Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel where I focus on free-to-play, early game and mid-game stuff, progression stuff, you know, the good stuff. Guys, today's video is going to be on Deacon Armstrong. I think I've neglected this man for far too long. He's such a great champion, but I think he's just had a very bad couple of months, to be quite honest. Like, I think this might just be every champion's worst nightmare. When you have your kit, you feel strong, Deacon has a strong kit. He used to be called S tier. I feel like it's probably around about A tier now. Depending on what you need on your accounts, obviously. He is a great champion. But the worst nightmare then, you know, feeling strong, and then Plarium decides to introduce a free champion, a login champion that almost has like at least half of the kit that you have yourself. And that happened here. Mikey and Deacon, I mean, not the turn meter boost stuff, but Mikey and Deacon both bring us decreased defense and leech. And I think that has been rough for Deacon, probably, because, you know, Mikey is just insane. Mikey's absolutely great. And on my account especially, I didn't only have Mikey, I also had Gom Yellowhand. And Gom Yellowhand, you know, I got decreased defense and leech from Mikey, and then Gom Yellowhand takes away all the control, basically, that Deacon would otherwise bring me, because he has not only a decrease of enemies turn meter by 15%, he also has a stun, 75%. So poor Deacon, honestly. I haven't used him a lot, but he is a great champion, and so many of us have him because he is a download link champion. So he helps us all the way from early game through mid game, all the way into late game. Which is pretty strong. He is a great champion. Let's go through his kit real quick, even though I've mentioned quite a bit of it. His A1, 50% on each hit to place a leech. Really strong against bosses. Really great. You can almost solely rely on this in Demon Lord. Clan boss when everybody has Giant Slayer or War Master. Really strong. Decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown, 100%. Always a great skill. And then this is what really makes his kit amazing. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% and decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 15%. Grants an extra turn. This is on a 2-turn cooldown, basically. On a 2-turn cooldown, all along with his ally speed in all battles aura. I mean, I just said Gom Yellowhand basically takes this skill away. This is still a great skill. And if I didn't have Gom Yellowhand, just, you know, as an example, I had Glade Wolf, most of us have him, and he brings me a provoke, 75% chance. And I don't have another CC champion. I can bring in Deacon, and he is going to make that provoke last so much longer because he, you know, controls enemies' turn meter and your own turn meter as well. Bring increased speed at the same time, possibly bring decreased speed for the enemies if you can, but Glade Wolf actually has a chance to bring that as well. So that is very nice. So I think the comp of these two is actually pretty great. It's actually pretty nice. So he is a great option against waves. He's a great turn meter booster and control champion in arena. And he can also help you against quite a few bosses. All of those which are susceptible to turn meter reduction, of course. He is going to be decent to against other bosses as well. Especially if you don't have Mikey. He is going to be decent then as well. But, you know, the part where he takes away 15% of the enemy's turn meter really gets taken away. That being said, against Clan Boss, for example, bringing you a good amount of heal with the leech, then the decreased defense, super essential to have that against bosses, and then an increased turn meter for your allies every 2 turns with the speed aura. He is a great champion. But the areas where he's actually going to shine the most are things like wave-based stuff, and then Fire Knight, he's going to be amazing. And then definitely Dark Fae as well, because you don't only want to decrease the turn meter of the Dark Fae, you also want to make sure that you take all of your allies take your turns before your copied enemy team takes a turn as well. And if you have Deacon Armstrong going first there, that is going to almost guarantee, it depends on the speed tune, but almost going to ensure you that all of your champions are going to take a turn before your copied enemy team is going to take a turn as well. In terms of his build, I feel like I'll start with the masteries. I think the support ride is really optimal for him. He needs accuracy for all of his skills. He needs turn meter, so he has a lot of debuffs, increases turn meter when with Arcane Celerity, increases turn meter when debuffs expire, give him more accuracy. Lore of Steel for extra stats, Evil Eye to decrease the enemy's turn meter even with the first A1, and then I've taken Sniper just to make sure that his leech is being placed more often, because I've used him in Clan Boss in the beginning of the game. I slotted him. I took him out relatively quickly because Mikey just takes up so much of his kit. But you know, and then War Master, pretty standard, I feel like, for a accuracy support champion. And then in terms of his build here, the big weakness of this build really is the speed. His defensive stats are fine, 45k HP, 3000 defense, but then he only has 230 speed, and for a speed booster you really want something quicker than this. 300 accuracy, for clan boss 250, for dungeons at stage 20 we want 225, and 300, you know, it's in that, like, looking at it from that perspective, it's even a bit over the top, but you know, just having a bit of extra accuracy for arena can't hurt you. That being said, if I would rebuild him, I would probably take off one of the perception sets and put in a speed set. But I don't have too much stuff on my account at the moment, especially speed gear. I really have to start farming stuff now that my turtle team is starting to do dragon on hard mode. But you know, I think the build isn't optimal, but it will be enough to showcase what Deacon Armstrong can actually do. Yeah, you can also see that I haven't used him a ton because his gear isn't maxed. Like the gloves stage level 12, the shield level 12, and the accessories as well. Apart from that, pretty standard stuff here. You know, accuracy, HP and defense on gloves and chest, and then speed on the boots. So nothing too crazy. So what do I want to showcase? I've already talked about his strengths, and that is really what I want to show you as well. You know, just 1 or 2 arena fights probably, maybe a Fire Knight run. And Dark Fae is actually going on at the moment, which is, you know, good timing. And so I'll definitely take him into Dark Fae as well. By the way, the event dungeon is always with minions as well. And decreasing the enemy's turn meter in the event dungeon is also definitely an option. You do have to look at the mechanics of the boss though. Some are kind of allergic to turn meter reduction. Some are just immune to it. So you'll have to see what happens there. First stop, Fire Knight. Let's do PvE stuff first. So no presets. I just thought I'd set this team and let it run freely. For my supports, I mainly have to Hanurak here. I hope that we don't die at any point during this fight, but I really don't think so. I'm not bringing too much utility, or I'm not bringing too much survivability on this team actually. But with all the turn meter decrease, I mean, we can already see that the waves really are, you know, there's not going to happen too much during this fight. Mikey is my damage dealer, and they won't take too many turns. Yeah, Deacon just, you know, they try to get back to actually having a turn, but Deacon just decreasing their turn meters. And so, yeah, I don't feel like any of the wave, like any of the minions here in the waves is going to take a turn. Here we are at the second wave. Deacon just used his turn meter decrease, so he won't be able to use it against the waves right in the beginning, but that should be fine. All right, you know, Glade Wolf coming in with the provoke, and the second wave is done as well. I think like Glade Wolf and Gorm Yellowhand is a bit overkill in terms of CC, but I felt like with Glade Wolf bringing me decreased speed for the boss as well, and his counterattack, I actually felt like he might be a good addition here, and he's also kind of free to play, so yeah, I thought this might be an interesting showcase. Let's see what happens at the boss. I just noticed in order to make this a bit more free to play, I should have probably taken out Gorm Yellowhand and put in Morag, but you know, too late now. Yeah, let's actually see what happens here. This is going to be quite interesting. The boss, alright, gets his turn meter decreased by Gorm, gets his turn meter decreased by Deacon. Pretty lucky there that these two have the skills exactly ready when the shield is down. But I feel like we are going to see a turn from the Fire Knight pretty quickly here. It's a bit suboptimal. It's not great that Deacon does do the turn meter decrease whilst the shield is up, but it should be fine actually. We should be fine. For some reason, Deacon Armstrong's turn meter reduction got resisted, which is weird. I guess that's just a 3% chance to resist an enemy independent of accuracy and resistance, which is like, I don't get tired of saying this. I have no idea why Plarium introduced that. Why leave that 3% in the game? You know, if you build so much accuracy, reward the players with actually having a reliable turn meter reduction in this case, for example. All right, but as you can see, this run is pretty safe, and a big part of this is just Deacon, because he decreases the turn meter so often. A great option alongside him would be Armiger as well. He's a common or uncommon champion. He's just fun. I will probably build him as well at some point. But, I'll take my time. First, I have to look at account progression and all the stuff. And then I might build Armiger and showcase the only uncommon champion in this game that has ever been 100% worthy to be taken to 6-star. Quite interesting. All right, guys. So this run is pretty much done. And I think it's interesting we can actually finish Fire Knight relatively easily without champions like Cold Heart or Allures that have full turn meter depletion. We just need somebody like Deacon. I'm utilizing his speed aura as well, of course. And this team would surely be fine if we didn't have Gorm Yellowhand but had Morag instead because of the ally attack. And then Deacon and Glade Wolf really bring enough turn meter reduction to slowly but surely take down the boss. It would take longer, but it would 100% work. Next up is going to be Dark Fae. This is actually Doom Tower Hard stage 40. I will make a dedicated guide for Dark Fae, but I thought this would be a good place to showcase a Dark Fae run with Deacon. Also, I haven't completed stage 40 yet, so we'll have to see if this team works. But this is generally something that you'll want to bring. Alright, lucky I stopped the fight there because Gorm Yellowhand has his CC skill ready. And we do want him to have that when it comes to the boss. I'm not sure here. Gorm Yellowhand is probably faster than Deacon. Or, they should have very close speeds. So let's see who goes first here. Alright, yeah, it's Gorm Yellowhand, but the principle is the same. If Deacon had the first turn here, he would decrease the turn of the enemies. It's important that you don't bring a champion with resistance on your team, by the way, because he might just resist your accuracy champions. But in this case, Gorm Yellowhand takes the first turn, decreases turn meter and also stuns enemies. And like I said, then we go in, decrease the enemy's turn meter. And here it's super clutch that we place decreased defense. Because that is going to mean that the AoE from... Oh, I can't... Yeah, right. Perfect Veil here. Because that is going to mean that Mikey is hopefully going to wipe the enemy team. But he doesn't have his AoE. This is not amazing. Alright, so now we have to see who isn't stunned. I really don't want Gorm Yellowhand to take a turn. So he is gone. That is great. Also, Raphael not having his AoE there. Great that we get an extra turn, so let's go in with the AoE here. We would have been fine anyways because everybody is stunned in the enemy team. Now this is not too great right here because, we have fears on us, and if Mikey doesn't do his AoE here, then we are probably going to be in trouble. Alright, I thought I could decrease the enemies like Mikey's turn meter here with the A1 from Deacon. Didn't work. Let's see if we can provoke them. This is great. Them being provoked is going to guarantee that we are not going to get wiped by 2 AoEs by these two. And then let's go in with an AoE here. And yeah, if we didn't have the provoke... damn it. If we didn't have the provoke, this would have been GG, but it seems like it is anyways, because, this is the trouble with Dark Fae. You bring your champions, and if you have champions that are just too strong, my 2 turtles are kind of on steroids here in comparison to the rest of my team, and if you do that and they just get 1 turn, if they just get 1 turn, they will they will kill it. Either all of your champions if they do an AoE, or just a couple if they are provoked. Alright guys, so it really seems like Dark Fae is going to be a problem for my account. I didn't expect that. I didn't remember that she was so hard, that it was so difficult to tackle her, and I don't have too many great champions for turn meter reduction. Allure coming onto my account is insane, that's huge, and that might make it possible for me to do Dark Fae, but I'll show you my findings as soon as I make a guide for the Doom Tower. I think that's going to be very interesting. I've had 2 more failed runs. Deacon definitely being super amazing in there. He's 100% going to make the team next to Allure and going to be the most essential part there. I can't bring the turtles. If I bring the turtles, even only 1. I might be able to bring Raphael, but if I bring Mikey, for example, he's just too tanky. He's just too tanky. It's so insane. I'm not used to fighting Mikeys because in live arena I always pick Mikey first, and so I don't have too many Mikeys that I have to fight against, and mine is built pretty well. So yeah, really annoying to fight my own Mikey, to be quite honest. So I'll have to see what I can actually make possible against the Dark Fae. We'll see about that. I hope I've like sufficiently shown, like made my point that Deacon is going to be amazing there. If you have, you know, another 1 or 2 good champions for that area. All right, unfortunately, I've checked Classic Arena. It's raining Arbiters, and my Deacon, like I said, he isn't built perfect, and I feel like you probably all know already why Deacon is so great against waves. We've seen that in the Fire Knight run, actually. But I still wanted to show you at least one arena fight here with Deacon on the team. And so I thought, you know, just go into Tag Team Arena. So we'll have to skip ahead to the 3rd battle. All right, so here we are. Luckily, the enemy team doesn't have two amazing speeds, and that is going to give me the option to decrease their turn meter, increase ours, place decreased defense, and that already in itself is going to make it relatively, or should make it relatively easy to win most fights. Now we just need enough damage. Luckily, Lemonisi, all right, that wasn't too amazing in terms of damage, but we should just be able to take down the enemies slowly but surely now. I actually want to shield up here because Deliana's A1 can be very, very annoying, and I think I'm not too... Yeah, actually, let's go for Jizzo. Oh no, he was provoked. I could have decreased Deliana's turn meter here, but I'll just go in with the decreased speed on her, and then, yeah, Deliana being the biggest threat here, even though the A2 from Lemonisi is much stronger when the enemy has a full turn meter, I'll still go for Deliana most of the way. And the craziness is here, Deacon already has his decreased turn meter back. So the speed with which he gets this back is absolutely insane. It can really help you to control the fights, but I think we've, like I said, already seen that in the waves against, in the Fire Knight waves. All right, guys, that's it for the showcase. I hope that this showcase does give you at least a good idea of how you can use Deacon also in Arena. You definitely want to see, if you try to go for speed, then 2 speed boosters is, generally speaking, the best way to go. So for me, that would probably be Donatello, having a speed boost as well, or a turn meter increase as well next to Mikey. I could use Tuhanurak with her increased speed, but only increased speed doesn't actually give you too much in terms of, or it doesn't give you too much freedom. Between the first champion, the speed of the first champion, and the speed that the second champion needs to have in order to be guaranteed to follow up. If you want to find out what speeds you specifically need on your champions in order to make a 100% safe arena speed tune, then Deadwood Jedi's side is still great for this. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be updated anymore. Like, he has 2 things here, 2 main things. The clan boss calculator, if you want to make a speed tune for clan boss, and then also the arena calculator. This isn't updated anymore, but you can just Google on Hell Hades who has similar skills to the skills that you have on your champions. So my Donatello, for example, would be my first champion here in arena. But I like, he isn't updated on the website, so I just use Prince Kaimar, who also has a 20% turn meter increase. And then I can see when I type in Prince Kaimar with Donatello's speed, I think it isn't actually the real speed from Donatello, but 276, then my Deacon is going to need 235 in order to guaranteed follow up immediately after Prince Kaimar. And then when you've used Deacon, then your speed, your damage dealer only needs 168 afterwards in order to be guaranteed to take a turn as well. I thought I'd mention that so that you can make the most out of your arena teams and make sure when you go for speed that your speed tune actually works. Also, I've just mentioned that Deadwood Jedi has the speed tune calculator for clan boss as well. Not just a calculator, it's really a tool that can show you what speed tunes work. He has a lot of speed tunes saved there. You can see what speed tunes work and how they work and what kind of speeds your champions need. And Deacon Armstrong is a essential champion for a lot of these speed tunes, alongside Seeker actually. These 2 together make a lot of speed tunes possible in clan boss, unkillable teams and stuff like that. So if you have Demitha, Seeker, Deacon, chances are that you will be able to make a speed tune in the clan boss. and be able to make an unkillable team for that. So he's amazing for that. I just thought I'd mention that because, you know, we've just talked about regular areas and him just being used in the regular game. But there is actually more to him, especially looking at speed tunes. All right, guys, that's it for the showcase. I really hope I did give you a sufficient idea of how strong Deacon is possibly or can possibly be if you use him properly. I will definitely have to see to improve his build here as soon as I go into higher stages of the Dark Fae. Him next to Allure might enable stuff in the Dark Fae, but yeah, he is probably going to need better gear. We'll see. I'll definitely, like I said, make a guide on the Dark Fae, and then we'll definitely talk about Deacon again. All right, guys, so that's it for the showcase. Thanks for stopping by. If you have any questions, if you have any critique or any feedback, you know, I'll happily read that, answer to that, and try to improve in the future. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, bye.